Guys, it's everywhere. The TBHQ. It's in our popcorn. It's in our ramen. It's in everything. Anything and everything. It's a preservative. It's a chemical. It hurts you. It hurts you. Tumors, they cause them in liver enlargement, and they mess with your sight as well. It's everywhere. In your favorite foods, your favorite foods. It's everywhere. I'm going to get to the bottom of this. I bet it's even in bananas. So there's no ingredient label for bananas, but we'll get to the bottom of it. In our Eggo waffles, you know what 11 can't control with her mind? Liver enlargement.
What Betsy means, all of the world's water.
Water is life for us.
Water represents life.
Water is life.
Water is life here.
Water is the essence of life for us.
Water is life.
Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool. Hi. Hey. Welcome to Environmental Coffee House. And this is me, Sandy Shallis, and Jim tonight, Massa. And hi, everybody out there. It's really good to be here. And Jim, it's really, really good to have you here with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Always good to join you.
Yeah.
On your broadcast there.
It is. It is. So what's up? How are you?
Well, let's see. Interesting temperature swing over the last 24, 36 hours. It went from about minus 23 or so to +1 today.
Oh, really?
So,
it warmed up? Oh.
That's Alaska in the wintertime. Something is blowing in a very strong wind.
12 degrees. 28 here.
Yes, that's Alaska for this time of year. We are less than a month from winter solstice.
That's cool. Very good. So yeah, you're keeping warm.
Yeah, so we'll see what there's supposed to be a little bit of snow coming in as the system blew in.
All right.
Oh, doing my best.
Of course you're doing your best. You got to keep warm up there.
It is what it is. But let's see, today is the 22nd of 58th anniversary of the CIA doing a coup in this country.
Yes, they did.
Events
yes,
in Dallas.
They did.
And less than a month to winter solstice.
Yeah, that ought to be interesting, huh?
Anyway,
I gotta move things around tonight. That ought to be very interesting. My desk is too small, Jim. I have too many things to operate this show. It's too small. Oh, guys. Well, everybody's joining. I made the video. I actually, I took this stuff from the articles, and when I found that young girl, oh my God, that was like, is that perfect for my kind of video or what? I have to write to her, tell her. She was awesome. Right? Everybody's saying hi. Let me pull up the the words before we start, and we can just quickly say hi to everybody, Jim. And Kim is our mod, and she's here. Thank you, Kim. And hi, Forest Dweller. And hi, Yo Mama. Hi, Forest Hun. Die 42. Good. We got a worldwide audience. Kim Ryan and M9078JK3. Hello. And let's see, Lone Wanderer. It's great to say everybody's name because people get happy to hear them, that we know you're here. Max Sarge and Poppy Davis and Karen Reese and Raza from the UK and Rick Small and Nostradamus. Hi, hon. Mr. Methane. That's Nostradamus. Field B. All right, Rich Diana. Yeah. All right, so let's get started. Jim is going to take it away with the discussion, and we're going to do water first. And, oh, yeah, wait. You have an announcement. He has a big announcement. That's right.
Yes. A with whom I work with at the International Arctic Research Center on campus of UAF, Dr. John Walsh, has just received what's the Mohn Award, MOHN, for his outstanding research in the Arctic. John has been at it for over 50 years, and he is the first American scientist to so win this award. A more deserving person I cannot think of. It was John who, in 2006, published a paper that is very, very important in the field of climatology. And there was a paper in association with the atmospheric scientists, oceanographers, people studying sea ice. I was part of the Latitude group there. But the paper formally identified and described what we now call the Arctic dipole. And the Arctic dipole is instrumental, as we have learned in the intervening years, is instrumental in determining whether sea ice stays within the Arctic basin or is flushed out the Fram Strait into the North Atlantic. And now the same mechanisms are being applied to what happens to the freshwater dump into the Arctic Ocean. Does it stay basin, or is it flushed out into the North Atlantic? So Dr. John Walsh was the lead author on that. It was his analysis that led to the identification, taking into account all the data, the whole bunch of us, and contributed. And
wow, that's
happy
awesome
to have been part of that as well. So,
do you want me to play the video?
So, John?
Yeah, we'll give him another applause. Yeah. Do you want me to play the video that comes with that little article? Would you like me to play the video? You sure? Okay, then we'll get started. But thank you for sharing this wonderful, and you having had worked with this gentleman. I think that's quite exciting, Jim. So, guys, we got a celebrity with us too.
We've had good scientists over the years. I mean, Talia and Igor are, IARC, although they split the time more so with the Russian Academy of Sciences.
Right,
so they
from Alaska.
kind of like 50-50. But they're still, they've done the work with methane. Igor also did terrestrial methane, but he also did and Barrows Canyon, which of course Barrows been renamed Utqiagvik, and that's important oceanographic findings as well. So we've been fortunate to have some really outstanding scientists associated with IARC over the years.
That's great.
And it's been a privilege for me when I was there to have worked with them. So.
All right, Jim. I love it. It's very nice.
Tonight's theme is basically... Thank you. Tonight's is basically how Americans are being poisoned to death, be it the chemicals, the crap that they put in our food, or the crap they put in the water. So I think I'd like to start off with a piece that appeared in the online publication Tom Dispatch I think it was published November 11 or so, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was talking about the title of the article, and it was an article written by Rajan Menon. It goes, "Politics of Water, It's in Your Sink," or as Tom Engelhardt, who oversees the site, said, "America has a drinking problem." And it's true, and it's not necessarily the so. I'm sure they post the link in the show notes or something like that. But I'm going to hit some of the highlights from the article.
Okay.
Okay. So a report that came out of the United Nations UN Sustainable Development, and the sixth such report addresses access to safe drinking water. 71% of the world's population lacks that necessity. Today, it's only, in quotes, 61% over the last several decades. But 90 million people still don't have it. So, we're talking about 1/8 of the population. Okay. But here's the thing is, you take the U.S., okay, it has the 5th highest per capita income, which is, when you look at the breakdown, is extremely skewed. But when you look at the Yale University's Environmental Performance Index, the U.S. ranked only 26 globally when it comes to the quality of its drinking water and sanitation.
Wow.
2 million Americans have no running water, no indoor plumbing. And you see it a lot here in Alaska. We have what's called dry cabins. You got the hall water. Okay? Native Americans are 19 times more likely to not have indoor plumbing, not have running water. Okay? When it comes to, when you compare to whites, Latinos, African Americans, it's twice as likely. On average, Americans use 82 gallons of water daily. That's a lot, in my estimation. Navajos use 7.
Yeah.
Now, 7 was equivalent to about 5 flushes of a toilet, if assuming a low volume flushing toilet, like a 1.5 gallon toilet. But many Native Americans have to drive miles just to haul water. So this is a reason at the start of the pandemic, having a high death rate and illness rate, because one of the things they always said to do was frequent hand washing. Well, that's fine if you can open up a tap and have the water right there. When you have to haul water, that's not always that's not going to happen. Now, the EA water mains, so that's the old ones, require 240,000 times annually. Okay, they rupture. So they rupture so much, and so then trillions of gallons of potable water, which is worth $2.6 billion, they're leaking from the pipes that are degrading. Jesus. And then we get billions of gallons of raw sewage that pollute the surface water that provides 61% of our supply. So we have raw sewage getting into our water supply.
I'm glad I have a well.
The U.S. has 2.2 million miles of water pipes, which are on average 45 years old. Okay, and because the system is old, and some of them date back to pre-Civil War. I mean, it's just crazy.
We have not.
So everything's breaking down.
Wow. We haven't updated a lot of stuff. Well, we've seen what happened in Flint. I mean, come on, that's still happening. Still happening. It's terrible.
That's right. It is, and Flint is the only place.
Have a little patience, guys, because he might freeze a bit because he's in Alaska. Jim, we lost your audio. We lost you. Can you guys hear Jim? Hang on. Jim, I can't hear you. Jim! All right, what happened to his audio? It's gone. Jim, your audio's gone. Hang on, guys. Can you hear him? I can't hear you. Here. I don't know what happened. I love live. I know you can't hear Jim, They can't hear you, sweetheart. He looks good. You look good, Jim. Everything's fine here. You're not muted. I've got you all the way up. This is the beauty of live. I think you're back. Okay, I think I hear something. Do we hear a Jim Massa? Yeah! I'm gonna kick that old microphone right down the road. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. All right, let's keep going. Uh-oh. Jim, what did you do to Alaska? I can't hear you now. Nope. Nope. Stop. Now we can. Keep going. I wonder why it's breaking out. I can hear you. I can hear you now.
I don't know.
We're going to hope for the best. We're going to hope for the best. All right, sweetheart. You go. And I'll scream again. If I go like this, that means we can't hear.
So the issue is that, well, I'm kind of off screen right now, but so what it comes down to is that the majority of Americans are cooking and drinking contaminated water. It's poisoning us, and so on. For example, you mentioned Flint, Michigan, and the lead levels there. Well, the safe level for lead in parts per billion is 0. Plain and simple. There should not be any lead at all in any of the water that we're drinking. None at all. And yet we have lead in a lot of the water pipes. So let's see. The National Resource Defense Council in 2015 found more than 80,000 reported violations of Safe Water Drinking Act by community water systems that serve nearly 77 million people. Okay, and of the number of violations, 12,000 traced to water providers serving 27 million people, with the result of health issues taking place. A study in the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences concluded 21 million people consume water that did not meet federal standards, and 30 million in 2019. So it increased 9 million over the course of about 4 years.
Wow.
So, you know, we can, you know, all the carcinogens and the E. coli, the Legionella bacteria, all found in the water. What it comes down to is that our water really is not safe to drink. A lot of places, it's just not safe to drink, and the amount of money that's being put to the infrastructure of our country, which still hasn't passed the Senate as far as last I heard, is woefully inadequate. Other issues, of course, are the use of fertilizers, which has increased 5-fold since the 50s. So you got nitrate levels. You've got the maximum levels for nitrates is 10 milligrams per liter, which is another way of saying 10 parts per million. But studies reveal that the risk of birth defects and cancer increase when people consume water containing half that amount. We have arsenic, which is a known carcinogen. The maximum level for arsenic is 0.01 milligram per liter, which is another way of saying 1 part per billion. And so we're finding that in the groundwater. There are places where you have, we talked about sewage. Well, we got raw sewage just dumping out, right there on the ground. Everything is just breaking down. And then you have the group of chemicals called the PFAS, which stands for per and polyfluoroalkyl substances that are used in many products, including non-stick cookware, pizza boxes, firefighting foam, waterproofing apparel.
Oh, God, the firefighting foam. Oh.
So that's being exposed. That gets leached. That ends up in the in our water system, and so on. So, perchlorate. I'm just going through just a handful of the hundreds, thousands of chemicals that are in all that is doing harm to us.
It hurts.
So So, if anyone wants to read in detail, they can go to that Tom Dispatch
Yeah, I've been showing the article. It's quite an
article.
article,
But
and
the
and
problem is
mhm.
severe, and we need water. Now, go on. Yeah, we're just, it's just we're in danger, and so then the people will just go buy bottled water. Huh, bottled water isn't safer, and they're just gouging you for the price, especially what Nestle did in Michigan in the wake of the Flint
Mhm.
issue, you know, with the switching of the river supply to water with.
Bullshitters.
So all the corporation's going to do is just gouge us and make their uber profits. And they're not doing any special filtration on the water. They're just
Lying.
bottling it and selling it to
Lying.
you and saying, "Oh, this is clean water," when it's not.
What do you think of the
It's
Berkey
full of
filters, the
various
filtration
chemicals, including
systems?
chemicals from plastic. Yeah,
Sorry.
clean water. Whether you drink water straight up like I do here, you need a major filtration system, or whether you use water to make your coffee or your tea or your soup, for example, we're ingesting all this crap, and it's causing it's poisoning us, it's causing immune issues, it's causing diseases,
For sure.
it's killing us.
It's killing us. Now, what I asked this, I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? We have a lag.
So uh, that's with water.
I asked you a question?
I can hear you. Can you
Okay.
hear me?
What do you think of the Berkey filter systems and reverse
Hello?
osmosis? I know you can't hear me?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
All right, it's a lag. What do you think of water systems like Berkey? And I don't know what you use up there. I know you have to go buy your water. You have to go purchase your water and bring it home. Why don't you tell us a little about how you have to do it?
Yeah, I do.
Tell us about that.
Well, where I go get the water, there is a filtration system there, and they publish monthly reports on the levels, and I look at them. So and the levels are good, so that they have extensive filtration system. In fact, it's I don't. If you try to sink a well here in Alaska, the
Yeah.
water quality is actually quite poor. Um, because there used to be a lot of leach in the groundwater, and so sinking a well here in Alaska, especially interior Alaska, you need, if you're going to do that, you need to put major filtration systems in your house before you even dare open up the tap. It just has to be that way. There's also, I think, some like dichromate chemical species as well. So I go to a place. I mean, I have a 150-gallon tank in the back of my truck. I go to the place. It now costs $4 to fill that up.
Mm.
It used to be $3.25,
Mm.
but it cost me $4 now to fill that up. And I bring that home, and I pump it over into a holding tank. Has been massively treated. Um, so, and basically, you want, and even then, I still have a filter system on my house, on the water, even distributes to my various faucets and so forth. That
Okay.
uh, it goes down to 0.01 microns, something like that. So it's going to filter out pretty much most nasties,
All right. I got another question before we move on off water.
viruses and bacteria and that kind of stuff. So
Oh, we got some lag tonight, Jim Babe. Jim Babe! All right, listen. Jean in Costa Rica has a question, and I know you are not a medical doctor, and I could probably answer some of these, but what the water chemicals do to us before it kills us. Like, so like cryptosporidium or lead. She said, you know, lead, I know lead causes a lowering of intelligence, but in what way I don't know. So there's pathways, and I know that a lot of the waterborne illnesses give severe diarrhea. For dehydration, I don't know which ones. I'm just wondering, Jim, if you know any of the associated problems with any of these things that are in the water. Arsenic, we know that'll make you pretty sick.
You need to separate the organisms that cause diseases like giardia, and that, you know, ingesting that directly, yeah, that's going to cause some issues. You can get tapeworm. I mean, you can get all, you know, roundworms, hookworms, all sorts of lovely things. Well, we're, you know, so that's one type of contamination. That's, that, you know, organisms causing illnesses. These are chemicals. Like, take for lead. Lead basically destroys your nerves, your neural. It interferes with your nervous signals and pathways. That's what a lot of these chemicals do. They disrupt your physiological processes. They disrupt even your structures, maybe inserting themselves into, you know, the lipid layer of your cell membranes and that kind of stuff. So that's what the chemicals do. They interfere with your basic physiology, with your biochemical pathways, and that can cause problems, and it can result in your immune system being compromised.
Yeah.
And we see the same thing with the chemicals in our food. So it is a major problem.
Okay. Well, I had wanted to ask for Jean, and Gary had asked about the PFAs, and I put the screen back up so he could see what you were talking about in there. But there's definitely a lot of problems. I know I have well water, but I have to soften it, and I have to use reverse osmosis, but the reverse osmosis took the place of having to have a lot of filters. So as the kind of weirdo prepping person I am, I have a million filters. So if anything ever went south, I do have a lot of filtration, which is a good thing.
RO is widely used. In fact, just about every chemical lab in the nation uses RO.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I know it.
It's a very good system.
I'm so blessed for that. Believe me, it wasn't super cheap, but it was so worth it. So I have all those filters, but it's a good thing. And I know that a lot of you out there are dealing with similar problems that we're talking about. You're all over the world. I know Forest Dweller had made a comment earlier about stocking water up, and it's very important. Water is life. Water is life. I should have worn my Water is Life shirt. I have one. Oh, well, if anybody wants to move on, though, we have... Kim said there was a guy named Moses West who went to Flint and made these machines to collect water from the air to help people there. I don't know what that was. That's not a dehumidifier, would it be? Because that's what happens in my basement. You know, I use the dehumidifier water for the garden. If you can use it, or it goes down the drain, depending if I'm feeling good enough to lift 5-gallon bucket, which doesn't happen anymore like it did.
Well, that's at 8.3 pounds per gallon. That's 41.5 pounds of water to lift.
Yeah.
So
this back is not like that.
Plus the container.
The drain seems to be the thing the last 2 years. Oh gosh. Well, would you like to move on?
So when I'm hauling. So when I'm hauling 150 gallons of water, that's 1,245 pounds of water that I'm moving.
God damn, Jim! So. Wow. Yeah, but you have a system to back it up, right?
Well, you have an airbag system that helps
back up the truck to the
six-cylinder truck.
No, but I mean, do you back up the truck to unload the water? Do you siphon it into you siphon it into the tanks? that you have for storage,
I have
right?
a water. I have a yeah. I have a
Yeah.
water pump that
Yeah.
I have a hose that goes from the tank on the truck
Yeah.
to the water pump, from the water pump to an inlet that goes into the tank into the house, and then I pump
Okay.
it over.
Whole
Takes
big
about
thing.
on average 97 seconds to offload.
Oh, wow. That's not bad. Kim says she's going to
Well,
send me a link. Good. Thanks, Kim.
I've got what is it? I'm using an 1.5-inch cam, so it's a pretty wide bore diameter. I'm not. A lot of people use 3/4 inch. I use 1.5 inches because I'm not gonna mess around. Just move that water, move it quickly.
All right.
Especially when it's like really cold out there. I don't
Yeah.
want the pump to freeze up.
Oh, yeah. You probably have to. Now, you have a lot of considerations that a lot of us don't, or people in the global south don't. But, of course, everywhere is, Poppy says water without parasites is a luxury these days. You have to be careful.
Yeah.
All right, well,
it is.
Why don't we mosey on over to this lovely stuff, the Life Science article, which
chemicals.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we're going to go to chemicals. Aren't we just the luckiest people on the planet? All right, there we go. Life Science.
Now, this one talks about specifically the chemical TBHQ, and which is found in over 1,000 processed foods. May harm the immune system. Like how they hedged the headline, but
it's awful.
It isn't just this one chemical. There are thousands of chemicals that are found in our food that are basically killing us. It's shortening our lives by with the chemicals compromising our immune system, compromising physiology, just as we discussed with the chemicals in the water. It affects your endocrine system. I just did a recent video featuring this very article on folks may want to check out. But I've also done videos about nanoplastic. I've done a lot of videos on plastic, microplastics, and so on. But nanoplastics that get into the food, they get into the food, and then we ingest it, and then it gets into our tissues and interferes with our tissue, targeting, in a lot of cases, the endocrine system, the thyroid gland, which is quote unquote the mass, overseeing their metabolism, etc. And when you look at these, what's happened in the food supply around Europe, a lot of these chemicals that are allowed to be used in American food are banned in Europe. And that's a lot of reasons why the Europeans are basically healthier than Americans.
Yeah, and we have the good old magical thinking.
So, yeah. So the chemical, the TBHQ, basically stands for tert-butyl-hydroquinone. Okay, there's the hydroxylene kind of nonsense. But this is it's and they you find in like Pop-Tarts and Cheez-It and all sorts of other stuff.
Dollar General shit that they have in every rural corner. It's Dollar General. That's who's pumping this out to poorer or Americans that don't have a lot of money. And I go in the store that they built here, and they got rid of a mom and pop store, and this is the shit that they're selling. I can't stand it.
Yeah, and the thing is, these chemicals, what's the results of them impacting negatively the immune system?
Probably has
it makes you more prone. It makes you more prone to infections that can cause mortality. It makes you more prone to getting cancer that are environmentally induced, not necessarily genetically induced, or it could be the catalyst that, if you have a genetic predilection for cancer, will trigger that, and therefore, put you at risk. So there's a lot of negative impact from the stuff that we are ingesting. So the bottom line is avoid processed foods is really what it comes down to. Mm-hmm. But folks can look through this article, there's some links there that take you to other
Okay.
locations for details if you want. But the TBHQ affects proteins such as chemokines and cytokines that coordinate the immune system's response to pathogens. So if it affects those proteins, you're not going to fight off the infections. We've all heard of this cytokinetic storms that when COVID was first raging through, that was being described. Well, the TBHQ will affect that because, let's face it, what are antibodies? What are what are tissues? All the hormones, they're all proteins. They have a specific chemical structure. Well, if you throw chemicals in there that disrupt the specific chemical structure, then guess what? What those chemicals were designed to do, they're not going to do. And then that leaves the person at risk. So they're building up a large body of epidemiology results, and so you have the breakdown like that. I mean, I don't. We can. It's easy for us to get into the weeds now, but my point for us to do this broadcast is to get the idea across that the American food industry, the American water industry, is literally killing us. The EPA standards have been so relaxed that this shit is allowed to get into our water and food supply. Congress won't do anything about it to, ban its use.
There you go.
So now we are ingesting all this stuff, and we're being put at risk. And this is, a major reason for why life expectancy in the U.S. is dropping. Is, in addition to, it's because of all the stuff here. And then when you do get sick, how many of us can even afford to go to the doctors? I mean, seriously.
I was having that conversation with a gal the other day, and I didn't understand. I mean, she was telling me how they can't even afford to pay for her husband's ventilator. I mean, not ventilator, oh my God. Inhaler. And all kinds of problems forever. And then I said, well, she shows me a picture of her husband. He has a big old Trump hat on. And I said to her, she's pretty bright. I said, why do people constantly vote against their best interest? He's not going to help. Nobody's helping. None of them are. I just don't see anything changing because we are an oligarchy, a kleptocracy, an oligarchy, and all of the garchies. We're just going to be fed this shit.
It's funny you just use the example of the inhaler because Bernie put out a tweet earlier today saying
today?
Today he put out a tweet saying that you go to Canada, I think it was like to get an inhaler, and I don't know if it's like for asthma or whatever. It was like $24, where the same thing in the U.S. is well over $400. The same exact stuff, same exact inhaler, the exact same ingredients, same volume, over four. Now that's basically 20 times the cost. Why is that? Same thing he demonstrated with insulin. You go to Canada, you go to Mexico, it's like $3. We're here in the States, it's like more than 10 times the cost.
Yeah. And here in the States, we're being gouged and we're being poisoned, and they are killing us. And it's is the food companies and the CEOs and all these people. And why can't I find his? I'm looking for it for you so I can pull it up in Twitter. But well, carry on with that. You know what I wanted to ask you too? Carry on with the with more of the chemical compositions, the chemical things, and I'll find that. I want to find it. Oh, no, that's not it. Well, I guess I'll show everybody what I'm doing. I'm looking for the tweet. There's the tweet. There should be the tweet that Jim was saying. And when you're live, you can do all these things. So we'll see if that tweet is up there. But he's saying all the things that we're saying. It's crazy. It's absolute. Look at the look on his face looking at that guy. Oh, my God. I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is, but you saw it. You saw it today?
This is several days ago. I think it was today he put it out.
Okay. Well, he did say there's more wealth.
Today.
more wealth inequality, and the billionaires have to pay. But it just makes me sick, though, that people just constantly, we had 4 years of Trump, and these people now can't even, they're not, they had a horrible time then. Now they can't get anything. And just so sad. And what is this administration going to do? Is this administration going to change things for them? They're in a loophole.
No.
They were working Americans that can't get the state, I don't know. Bernie says if we mobilize, if we come together, if we had a vision based on justice of where we want our country to go, we can win. We can create the world that we know we can become. Oh my God, doesn't that sound like such hopium? I hate to say it like that. I don't feel like any of that's going to happen. I think we're going to, we're going.
Kick to the dirt. We're discussing, basically, there's so many chemicals in our food that, we're being subjected to all these physiological ailments. And I use myself as an example. I mean, I would be considered obese. And when I go to Europe, basically eating the same diet I have here, being the same level of activity as I have here, walking a couple miles a day, what have you, whatever. I lose weight over there.
Yeah. I
lose weight. I don't have to sit there and pump iron for 9 hours. I lose weight. I come back here and weight, and the weight comes right back on.
Well, a lot of us battle it
in food.
Well, it's not easy for you to grow food.
And as I said, podcast with you was to, and I'm sure if you're aware of it, but be blunt about it, that all the stuff they don't want, it's killing us. It's shortening our lives. It's causing health issues. And really, if we want to reverse things, we really need to get people to pressure Congress. Good luck with that, I know, because they're bought out by the corporations. But we need them to start passing some goddamn laws.
We can try. We can try. People can try. Here, I found an article, why are some food additives banned?
There. Yeah.
Sam?
Still used in the U.S. Exactly. This is exactly the point. A lot of the stuff that is allowed by law to be put in our food here in the U.S. is banned elsewhere. So it's...
Oh, look at how they do it. In additives, U.S. regulators focus on probability. EU considers possibilities. That's interesting. I'm going to put this one in the show notes, guys. And we didn't read it. Yeah, we did not read it, but I did find a couple of websites. I found one I really like. It's a blog. I just found this guy, and I liked what I saw. I haven't read enough of it, but it's called Nature's Real Health, and this dude, he's on Twitter, and his name is Nicholas Tampanis. I don't know anything about him, but he's a dietary consultant in Virginia Beach. He writes a blog every day, and what I've read, I liked. And I found this one after Jim and I discussed doing this show, The American Diet, Eating to Kill. And I really like this guy's writing, so I'm going to take some time and explore this site, and maybe he would like to come on with us. So, but it was just interesting, Jim. You took me on a trip that I wasn't actually thinking about making, and I found some really good. I'm always fighting with, like, this is actually cassava. It's all kinds of minerals and vitamins and antioxidants and all that is in. I don't eat a lot of crap, but I eat ice cream. And I looked at the ice cream thing today, and I know I tell everybody that's my drug of choice, and it's my coping mechanism for what I'm going through in life. But I don't, there's some crap in there, and I try to get the purest stuff, but you can't. It's all the words, carrageenan, and there was other glycol, propylene glycol in ice cream. Those. I'm not buying it anymore because I don't have any other crap in the house. I've canned a lot of food and eat a lot of vegetables and all this, but there's sometimes though you want those goddamn things. You know what you buy? Guys, you buy if you really want to munch not the Doritos, but the cheapest brand that just has the salt and the corn, the tortilla, the chips, salt, corn, and a little oil. That's it. That's the munchie. Salt, corn, and oil. Why not? I mean, if you have to, but you have to read the ingredients for everything. And I used to be really good at it, but I gave up for like 2 years.
Well, one thing I'm finding is that raw, fresh string beans or green beans are available now in the stores. So sometimes I'll just buy like half a pound of that or so, and I just munch on that.
Can I send you some? I canned 100 million beans. If you send me your address, I'll send you a couple of jars of beans for Christmas, for whatever you celebrate, for living, for being alive still on this goddamn fucking planet. This guy had another article. I'm going to show you guys. Why not? I mean, we're going for it. The collapse of American society is knocking on our door. So, I mean, there's some really good stuff in here. I'm all excited about it. I like I said, I haven't read everything, but and plus, look at his site. You can go in this guy has a really great website, but I hope I don't find something I hate, and then I'm sorry about doing this. But like I said, wow, it's slow tonight. You can go in the classic. So he has it all different ways, and he talks. It looks like he does his research, and not on Facebook. Not doing his research just on Facebook. So we'll have to check that guy out. What do you think? And of course,
yeah. I mean, this is, just to be clear, this is not my area of expertise here. Okay, but
no, this is. This is. Yeah, there it is. That's Jim's page. If you don't know,
this is something
subscribe.
That this is something we should all be concerned about. Is what we're putting in our bodies. It amuses me that these people who don't want to take the COVID vaccine are screaming about, well, I don't know, I don't want to put something in my body I don't like, but they'll turn around and eat the chips and all the processed food that have all these nasty chemicals. That I just find that so amusing in a sardonic way.
Yeah, I hate going there. That whole topic just turns my stomach. I stay away, even though everybody that is where I live is getting COVID. It's just awful.
I've already gotten my booster, and I even gotten a flu shot.
So you're covered, even though you don't go anywhere except to get water. No. You get your water.
Basically, I'm at the point I just go to town to get food, get water. That's it.
Yeah. I don't go out much either. I don't find it right now. I don't have to, so
I will admit I did go see the last Bond film, but I went on a Tuesday afternoon when I knew no one was going to be in the theater. So I basically had it to myself.
Yeah. Well, the woman that I know that just had it, said she was so sick and wouldn't go for a test because they're not, but she was so sick, and I thought she was going to end up in the hospital. She was very, very sick, and she said it was no joke, and she never wants to feel like that again. But
this is not a virus you want to catch.
No.
Even if you do recover, there are long-term effects, including developing dementia later on in life, issues with breathing, issues with your heart, issues with your kidneys, your blood vessels. You do not want to get this virus.
No, I don't want to talk. I shouldn't talk about personal things, but someone very near and dear to me has been in the hospital for weeks from long hauler, and now is in rehab to come home, and it's just been a real strain. And then this happening in town with this store, and everybody got COVID and was spreading it around and not doing anything to not spread it. Jesus, I didn't get it because I didn't see them, I didn't see them, but I mean, it's just easy, but I don't know. Kay says, this is nasty.
I mean, I'm not an optimist. I'm not an optimist by nature, but I'm hoping that once this holiday season is over and done with, that starting next year, this COVID thing will be on its way out.
I hope so. We'll see. You know, I'm hoping so too. I mean, eventually these things burn out, and I just, oh God, I mean, it's just like, and I'm not staying, but the thing with me is I'm not staying home because of that. I'm staying home because I live in the middle of nowhere, and I don't really want to go anywhere, and I can't afford to go anywhere. And so staying home, I'm so busy here, and I know you are too, because you tell me about things you have to get done at home also. You know, we both live kind of a life where you just can't not do anything. There's always something to do. So, yeah. No,
well,
Kate.
sleeping is something to do.
Okay. I couldn't sleep
Anyway.
this week at all. Oh, this was a bad week for me sleeping. Maybe it was the food additives. Maybe I ate something junky. You know, you can feel it. When I didn't eat sugar for years. Sugar's terrible. I didn't eat sugar for years. Years and years and years and years. And then, I don't know, a couple of years ago, everything sort of, a few years ago, sort of, I changed and shit to hit the fan. And I know the difference. When I eat sugar, I literally feel my heart race. And I don't eat much of it. I said it's just in ice cream. But I hear my heart rate. I feel it. I feel it. It is a drug. And it's not a good drug. Not a good drug at all. But I'm very happy. Hey, Rain's good. You said you Fresh Air HEPA CO2 monitors to stay below 800 parts per million indoors. CO2 monitors. Do you have one of those, Jim? Any kind of CO2
No, I don't.
monitor? That's interesting. Maybe that's a person lives in the city. Nice to see you, and thank you for coming. I love new names. I do.
I have CO monitors. I don't have CO2 monitors.
Right. I hear you. Okay, wait. Billy Joe said, the Food and Drug Administration of America does not care about people or our health. Or it's that they care, but because everything is so corporate owned, you know, there's just there's money in politics. There's pressure on them by these corporations to approve things. And the scientists, I believe, don't have the freedom or the autonomy to do what they would like to do.
Your points are exactly spot on, and don't forget their budgets have been slashed. Whenever there's a Republican Congress or Republican president, especially, it happens under all administration, but their budgets get cut drastically, and so then they don't really have a working budget to do anything to conduct all the necessary studies to assess, you know, what these things do, what's safe, what's not safe.
You're right.
Are not good. They just don't have the budget. They don't have the personnel power. They don't have enough people, enough scientists to conduct the study, because the scientists get so frustrated that they end up leaving the government jobs. And this is true for the scientists working on, say, climate as well. You know, they just get so frustrated with the whole process. They basically say, "F this, we're out of here." And it's and so then you don't have that work done. I mean, here's another thing going on. Okay, I know it's kind of off topic when we're talking about food and stuff like that.
Go for it, hon.
But we're losing money for our satellites. If there's anything we need now to look at climate, is satellites. That's what we get a shitload of data from.
Well, who defunded that? Who defunded that?
Congress.
So when can it now be relooked at, or has to be a bill to introduce to fund these things?
Europeans are taking over. The Europeans are running the satellites.
So the United States, really, we're going to collapse in every which way, and everybody's waiting for it to happen.
Exactly. I mean, don't forget, we cannot even send our own people into space right now. Not even LEO, low Earth orbit. We cannot even send our own people up there.
Elon Musk.
We have to hitch a ride with the Russian rocket.
Oh yeah, true.
And we're pissing off the Russians. Whoa, that's brilliant, isn't it?
The Russians who just blew up a satellite and almost wrecked their own space station. and the right wing talking heads were like, "Oh my God, it's a big thing." No, they were idiots. They were doing a test and probably didn't control for the distance between their satellite. Yeah. That they blew up.
Exactly. I mean, so there's just so many but we keep pissing money away on military bases overseas, on wars overseas, on military materiel that is not needed. And when it comes to taking care of our own people, our infrastructure, how are you going to pay for that? You never hear that question asked. How are you going to pay for the tax cuts? How are you going to pay for the military? You never hear that question applied to that. This whole infrastructure bill, it's like been watered down from 10 trillion to 1.7 trillion now.
I thought it was 3.5 trillion when it was first.
It originally was 10. It was originally 10. Bernie proposed 10. Then it got jumped down to 6. Then Biden went to 3.5. It just kept going. But the thing is, though, this is over 10 years.
Yeah.
It's not 1 year.
Yeah,
it's
but
over
it
10
isn't
years.
going to happen.
So if you have 3.5 trillion for 10 years, that's 350 billion per year, which is 1/3 of what we're spending for the military per year. We're spending close to 800 billion, if not more, on the military per year. We don't have a problem with funding that, but we've got a problem with fixing our infrastructure. Give me an effing break.
Yeah, that goes right back to the water. Let's see what projects will get funded.
Exactly.
Because they wrote a lot. Remember in the old days, you don't hear this anymore. They called it pork spending.
Yeah.
And Congress would go and they would do the work by cutting the pork. Well, now, unfortunately, the pork, even though we're all turning to vegan, the pork is the important stuff. The pork is not just roads and bridges, it's the water pipes in all these cities, like we were talking about with the first article, with the article
They're cutting
by...
bone now.
Yeah. I read that some water pipes, I think you said it, are still wood in some places in the country. They're still wood. I don't know if it was that article or if it was another one. I was going through all kinds of stuff. It's really something.
It was that article.
Well, what is...
And of course, wood, is a great surface for algal growth.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, let's just get something else to give you diarrhea. Mm-hmm.
Let's add a little slime into the waterways as well. It's unacceptable. We're supposed to be an advanced first world country. No, we've already slid down to this probably third world status at this point.
And John just said it. Foods in the U.S. are formulated for maximum sales. Nutrition is last on their list of priorities. There's a reason it's called foodstuffs. Oh boy, I'm so happy that I'm able to grow the things I can grow. I'm so I know that I am grateful. How do you say great? It's hard work. My body hurts. I mean, this week was horrible, and I wasn't even doing anything outside. It was all, the other things, the firewood, the living. But I'm grateful. I have a lot of gratitude for that because I really don't have to buy that shit if I don't want to, and I choose not to most of the time. But it is hard because when you go out, we are programmed. It is behavioral modification, continually, constant, 100% on social media, on TV, everywhere, behavioral modification. And it started with the old advertising, you watch Bewitched, and Darren Stevens was an advertising guy. I don't know the days of those kind of advertising.
Here's another thing to think about. If you try to buy healthy food, you
can't afford it.
Going to pay through the wazoo for that. So if you have like a single mother with 2 kids and she's working a crap minimum wage job, she can't afford to. She just needs to buy something to put in a kid's stomach, just so then just to put something in their stomach. Well, guess what? That basically you're going to be buying the cheap processed food crap, and so you're setting up the kids from an early age to have a poor physiological health for the rest of their lives because you're going to buy a box of mac and cheese, or you're going to buy 2 pounds of apples. Guess which costs a hell of a lot more. And even then, you have to be careful with the apples because the chemicals that they spray. The agar that they is that what they used to spray on the apples?
Agar, that sounds familiar. Agar.
You know, so see, you have to watch out for that, and you know, you see the, you know, the rise in organic farming. Although, as a scientist, I always chuckle at organic
No.
because technically organic is any chemical substance that contains carbon except for
It's 10
CO2 and
o'clock.
CH4. So I always chuckle at that, kind of a misuse of the word, but I understand where they're coming from.
Well, I pulled up.
So if you try to buy the good food, you know, it costs a lot more, and of course food prices are jacking through the roof.
Yeah, it's true. I think in America, we just all have to learn not to consume. You know, we have to learn to. Here's the agar, by the way. 2 components: a linear polysaccharide agarose and a heterogeneous mixture of smaller molecules called agaropectin. Is that what they were spraying on apples, or was it something different and a little more sinister?
I might be mixing it up with another chemical.
That's okay.
You know,
That's
I'm not
okay.
a chemist, so
We're not perfect here, guys. You know, even though you think we are, boom, we're not.
oh, I know I'm not.
Oh, you're
maybe
pretty
someone
smart.
in your audience knows and can inform us of what it is
Well-
I'm trying to think of. I know it begins with the letter A. I just can't remember it precisely.
Okay, it's called ALAR. ALAR. ALAR, John said.
Okay.
ALAR. See, you weren't that
LR,
far
okay.
off. ALAR. You were not far off. Here it is. Let's see if is it banned? We'll look it up. Okay, we're going to look at it really quickly. Thank you, John. And here we go. It is a potent carcinogen, and its risks outweigh its benefits. After extensive review, the EPA decided in late '89 to ban it because long-term exposure to ALAR poses unacceptable risks to public health. And I guess it hit. I don't know what else, but what is the ALAR scare? It was a pesticide, and they told everybody about it in. In 60 minutes, 6,000 preschoolers may get cancer from it. So back in the 80s. So I suppose we ate enough of it. If we liked apples and applesauce, we ate it all. So people say, okay, the boomers, you all had it good. No, we all got sick. We're getting sick.
Yeah.
I mean, I have an autoimmune. You know, that's why I tell everybody my glands are always swollen. Because it's an autoimmune that attacks the moisture-producing glands. And they never go away. They're always swollen. And who knows what that's from? Environmental toxins? Who knows? I lived in a lot of different places, but who knows?
But this just exemplifies, you know, that a lot of what the government allows or does not allow, or whatever the standards are, is just putting us all at risk. Be it in the water we drink, the food we ingest. I mean, we're literally being killed. We're literally being poisoned to death. And, you know, for a person with limited financial means, it can be very difficult to make proper choices in what one buys on for the grocery list. You know, it's difficult. And of course, that all ties into, you know, the minimum wage, you know, staying where it's at, and et cetera, et cetera. We all know the litany of the issues.
Yeah, we do. And there's a lot we can talk about them. You and I are like thinker.
You know, but you know, this is something, you know, I think, you know, we should really be pressuring Congress to do something about this. Stop taking the damn money from the corporation and start passing legislation that actually protects us, the citizens. You know, we the people.
Yeah, we the people. Well, if we keep getting Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene and people like Madison Cawthorn and that whole cabal of crazy nuts that, I mean, how we're never going to get anywhere because these people don't understand. They're not smart enough. They're anti-science. And it's sad, and I guess we got political. What are you going to do? I mean, when you think about the relationship of food and water in this country, it is political because that's the only way to fix anything, unless you take it into your own hands and you go and you learn about nutrition like I showed you. And I wanted to show you guys those websites that I found, because our followers are educated consumers here. And so they probably, other people probably have some really good websites, and you can certainly email me anything that you found, or a book or whatever, and maybe we could do a follow-up show on the solutions for our personal selves.
The problem is that, you know, your channel, my channel, we focus on science primarily. But here's the problem. How do scientists get the money they need to conduct the research? They have to write a grant. They have to send it into Congress, where you have a bunch of idiots who don't know anything about science, and they review it and determine the merit of whether to fund your study or not. Once you do that, it becomes politicized. Plain and simple.
Oh, I remember
once you
that.
send in the grant, it's politicized, and there's just no way around it to avoid.
That's in public institutions.
I was doing the stuff there between the grant.
That's in public institutions.
Even if you're research at a private institution, you're still getting money ultimately from Congress for doling out funds.
Yeah.
It's just what it is.
You're right. I mean, I was a research administrator.
We're losing the samples because they're not funding it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
I used to see the ebbs and flows.
You were right there dealing in the trenches, so to speak.
I was in the trenches, 20 years of it, and and saw the ebbs and flows politically. When there was an election, we'd go, uh-oh, we're going to lose money at the school when a Republican got in. We lost grant money. And I hate to say it, but it's true, because they're fucking morons. Oh, my God. All right, well, listen, we're over an hour, and now I'm getting like goofy. Like, okay, I'm gonna talk about all these clueless fucking morons that are being elected in our country. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, everybody, listen. Kim, thank you for being a mod. She has to go. I'm going to play that little video to end. I really enjoyed this. Jim, would you like to, I always say to Jennifer, bring up the rear and say what you'd like to say to close up?
Just as always, it's great to be with you on your podcast. And I hope, folks who, I know your audience is aware of this issue, but hopefully once it gets posted to the YouTube universe, that other people will find it and be made aware of this very important issue. It needs to stop, plain and simple.
Well, we can boycott ourselves. We can start. Maybe if people realize what's in the foods, they can boycott them. But when I'm down in town and I walk through that Dollar General, I don't see anybody boycotting any of it. I just see a lot of unhealthy people getting unhealthier. And COVID is spreading like crazy around here, so I guess they're unhealthy. Yeah. All right, sweetheart. Well, listen, guys. Love you guys. I will be doing the Wednesday morning show, but I do have an announcement. There will be no show Friday night because Jennifer is on vacation, and I've decided to spend the evening with a girlfriend of mine that I haven't seen in a long time after the holiday. And Jim, you have a great holiday, and that's another controversy. We could talk all about the turkeys and slaughtering of turkeys, and what does it mean to Native Americans? What happened when we came and pretty much took everything away, and now we give Thanksgiving, but what's really behind it is a hard lesson to learn, which we're not going to talk about right now, but I just wanted to end with that. And thank you, everyone. And I will see you Wednesday morning. Jim, stay on until we're done. And guys, I'm going to play the little video again to end. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, guys.
Guys, it's everywhere. The TBHQ. It's in our popcorn. It's in our ramen. It's in everything. Anything and everything. It's a preservative. It's a chemical. and it hurts you. It hurts you. Tumors, they cause them in liver enlargement, and they mess with your sight as well. It's everywhere. In your favorite foods, in your favorite foods. It's everywhere. I'm going to get to the bottom of this. I bet it's even in bananas. So there's no ingredient label for bananas, but we'll get to the bottom of it. In our Eggo waffles, you know what 11 can't control with her mind? Liver enlargement.
What Betsy means, you know, all of the world's water.
Water is life for us.
Water represents life.
Water is life.
See, water is life here.
Water is the essence of life for us.
Water is life.